what happened, unfortunately, was that I'd had stress in life before. Obviously, everybody has, but it was always pretty normal stress. And like when you have a job where you just work for people, you leave it when you leave.
Right, sure.
And suddenly I was just immersed in 24/7.
Right.
What am I going to do? And within the first month, I started getting really sick.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sick in a normal way. I was sick in a very, I got clumsy and was like spilling glasses of water into my computer and having issues with setting things on fire accidentally, you know, I couldn't manage myself, and I was really, really highly emotional, where I started crying for no reason whatsoever for long periods of time.
Okay.
And I felt really wrong and just off, and I gained about 15 pounds in a month. I was crazy super skinny
you're like,
before.
something's wrong with me. What's wrong with me?
Exactly.
Right.
So I went for a year of running this business and just constantly doing all these different like cleanses and anything possible to try to kill whatever was going on.
Okay.
So my spouse, who is a very good Google researcher, was the one who got the idea that maybe I had Lyme disease. And obviously I had no interest in that. Whatsoever, because he wants to hear, like, maybe you've got this horrible disease.
And you're like, I am perfect. Never mind
no,
that.
I'm fine. Let me do another cleanse, and it'll all be good.
Right.
So sick for about a year, and then I got diagnosed with chronic Lyme disease, which is, for most people, a sentence of a life of illness. In the process of my getting diagnosed, my sister's husband had been very ill for a long time and decided to get tested also, and he and my sister got tested, and they ended up getting something called the Rife machine, or IFE. And we went to see my parents while I was still doing the Cowden protocol. And my mother died when she saw me. I was like walking like an 80-year-old man, and I couldn't move, and I'm crying. And so they took me to my sister's and had me do just the detox settings on the machine.
How long did you sit on it? Or with it in your hands?
Yeah, I used the full amount of time for those, which is about 15 minutes. They tried to get me to do the Lyme program, and I was so toxic that just touching the machine when the Lyme program was running, I was screaming and crying and hysterical. It was not possible.
Let me just share with you guys the Rife machine, R-I-F-E. You guys can look it up after the show. It's a wonderful thing to be aware of. It's actually illegal in the United States. In the 30s or in the 40s, I forget which, Dr. Rife created this machine, and it cures cancer. I mean, he literally was curing 99.9% of cancer.
So my parents were very kind and generous and were like, all right, we're getting you a Rife machine to fix this disease.
Oh, great.
I spent several months and tons of veggies and greens and Gerson techniques and acupuncture and therapy and everything natural that I could do to get this disease the hell out of my body.
Right. Exit, please.
Yes.
Right.
And I got well.
Yes.
And I got well really, really quickly.
Yeah, the Rife will do it.
Which is very exciting. It was right when I went back to acupuncture. Cool. He did something, mobile cupping. Where they move. Okay, so I had actually...
You can explain to our audience because they might not know what mobile cupping is.
So they take this little cup type thing and they take a cotton ball and they drench it in alcohol and then they set it on fire and they put it in there and somehow the smoke creates suction and then they stick it on you. And you can have it done on areas that hurt where it just stays there and you end up usually with a bruise. Or they can do something called mobile cupping where they just move it around your back. And what this does is just turns your chi back on,
moves it,
mobilizes your chi,
unsticks the oxygen, unsticks the blood, moves it.
So I had, not knowing it yet, I had already killed the Lyme and I was done with treatment, but I was so full of toxins that I wasn't able to get well. So as soon as I had that done, my body just started moving, and I had a really excellent therapist, basically, who, when I said, I'm in a war with my body, told me the only way to win a war is to not fight it. Befriend your body and you'll win. And I just had this, it was literally a moment where I looked in the mirror the day after I had that first session of acupuncture with cupping. I looked in the mirror and I saw myself as well. And I saw the person who I was going to be after the disease. And I was going to be so much more compassionate than I'd been before, and so much nicer and so much more understanding, because I'd always been this intelligent, skinny person who was totally condescending and kind of a snot. And here I'm like, 20 pounds over my happy weight, and I can't think a full thought. And I'm like, oh my God.
You're setting things on fire. You're spilling water on your laptop.
And I'm like, what a gift. What a gift I have been given to be humbled and be such a better person. And as soon as I thought of the disease as a gift, I went from hardly being able to walk to doing kickboxing classes in my home in under a month.